What's going on, guys? Stefan here with you, S&E's Garage. Today we have a 2020 Toyota Camry behind us with the A25A 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. We just got done doing a transmission service on this car today, and now we are going to go ahead and service the cooling system. So the first thing you're going to need is some 50/50 pre-diluted Toyota Super Long Life coolant. I'll leave some of that in the video description below. And then you're also going to need a method to fill and burp the cooling system. Now you can either do that with a spill-proof radiator funnel similar to this, or you can do it the way we're going to do it, and that is with an airlift coolant filling system. Now what this airlift does is it puts the whole cooling system under a vacuum, and it allows you to basically prevent air pockets from ever building in the engine, and it completely eliminates the need to burp the cooling system. Now I am going to show you two different ways to do this, and we'll walk you through that after we drain the car. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove this radiator cap. You always want to do this on a cold engine. This engine is cold. It's sat for a couple of hours since we've done the transmission service. So we're just going to go ahead and take this radiator cap off, okay? And we are going to shake all the extra coolant off, and I'm just going to place it aside, that way we don't forget where it is. It's right here on the top of the engine. So what I'm going to do now, we got the lift set up already from our last service. We're going to go ahead and lift the car up. So now that we have the car up in the air, we're going to go ahead and remove the frontmost splash pan here under the car. We don't have to touch this back one. This back one is fine, but we are going to remove this front one, and it's held in with various 10mm bolts, and then it's got some of Toyota's famous push pins. So let's go ahead off camera real quick, rip this thing down, show you where we're at. All right, guys, so once you get that shield off, you'll see it over here, and then we have the two air dams for in front of the wheels. You're gonna see the back side of the radiator. You'll see our cooling fan here, and right there is our drain. And now what you're gonna notice, if I stick you up there, is the drain for this guy is facing towards the driver's side of the car. So if I come over here with a flashlight and show you, if I were to just drain this right now, it's gonna make a heck of a mess, because it's gonna drain right there and then wanna pull up in this whole radiator support and everything, and it's not gonna be a good time. So what you're gonna need is just a small piece of hose. This is 5/16, and we're just gonna go ahead and shove this on the end of the nipple for the radiator, and our hose is gonna come out right here. So now this is going to be our drain location. So let's go ahead. We got our coolant drain set up over here. I'm just gonna wheel this whole cart right over here. We're gonna lower the car a little bit, and then we're gonna open the petcock. All right, what you're gonna see now is the coolant is draining. We're gonna go ahead and let this drain, and we'll be back with you when it's done. All right, guys, so we kind of got sidetracked there and had to take care of a couple of different things in the house. So we left this draining, and obviously, as you can see, it is now done draining. So we're gonna go under there, we're gonna close the petcock, pull our hose out, and then put our underbody shield back up. And let's just take a look. You'll see how much coolant we got out of here. So this is a 2020, and it's only got about 40,000 miles on it. So I'm not too concerned about flushing this cooling system, because the coolant that's in it, for all intents and purposes, is still good. This stuff doesn't have to be changed until 10 years or 100,000 miles. The owner of this car just wants to, you know, give it that extra love, and that's what we're doing here. So draining the radiator is going to be perfectly fine, and we're gonna, like I said, we'll put that splash shield back up, put all the rest of this, you know, all these panels back in, and then we're gonna go ahead and show you how to fill it. All right, so the last thing we're gonna do here to drain this system is we're gonna go ahead and pull this overflow bottle here from the radiator. It's basically the overflow to keep the cooling system closed. we're just gonna pull this hose off. We're gonna set it to the side here. And then there's gonna be a 10mm nut here that we need to remove and a 10mm bolt down below. And then we can go ahead and pull this whole overflow bottle up and out and empty it into our coolant drain. Now there is also a wire clip to it that you're going to have to unclip. It is for the high pressure switch for the air conditioning. So we're also just going to go ahead and release that clip from the side of the bottle. Now we can just pull our bottle out. Again, you're going to have a bolt or a nut here and a bolt down here. We're gonna go ahead and dump this right into our coolant. Now what I always like to do is I'll take a look down at the bottom of this, and if there's any sludge or gunk down there like you're seeing, I'll go ahead and hose that out. You can see it down there. So let me go ahead, hose this out, rinse it out real good, and then we'll be right back. All right, you take a look down in there now. It's nice and clean. We got all the schmutz out of there. Go ahead and reinstall our bottle. I'm just gonna go ahead and put our hardware back in, the nut and bolt we removed, and then I'm gonna show you how to fill the system. So now we're at the fill portion of this video. Now there's two ways you can do this. You can use the spill-proof funnel like I showed you, and the way you would use that is you would connect the funnel with the correct adapter right over here to the radiator, just right here. And then what you would want to do is find the highest spot for the cooling system, which happens to be, which I believe this is the EGR valve. So what you would do here is pull this hose off the EGR valve, and you would fill the cooling system until coolant came out of both ends of this EGR valve. At that point, you'd reconnect the hose and then go ahead, leave your funnel on, fill it up about halfway, pull the car out, and then you'd keep the RPMs at right around 2,000 RPM. That's going to keep the coolant flow control module open and allow the electric water pump to go ahead and circulate all that coolant and get all of the air bubbles out. Now we are going to be doing it a different way, and we're going to be using our U-View vacuum filler, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. All right, so the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to use our funnel to go ahead and fill the overflow bottle, like so. We're just going to go ahead and add coolant to this until it is at the full mark. See where we're at. Let's go a hair more than that. Fill it a little bit higher than the full mark because the engine is eventually going to suck some of this down. So once that's done, now we're going to go ahead and set up our U-View coolant bleeder. So you're going to have this end here. This goes into the radiator like this, okay? And then we're going to have this end. And what this does is it puts the radiator here and the engine block under a vacuum. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to bring our coolant drain over here. You want to put this end of this tool into a drain because some coolant residue is going to come out of this. And what we're going to do is we're going to wait for this little arrow here, that dial, to go into the green. Once it's in the green, we're going to close this valve, take this part of the tool out, and then we're going to install this part. This end here with the screen on it is going to go into our coolant jug, as you see, just like that. And then this end is going to plug into our U-View. And then we're going to open the valve, and you're going to see the coolant get sucked very forcibly into the engine. And that is going to fill all of the nooks and crannies inside of the radiator, inside of the engine block, inside of the heater core, everywhere. Now this is going to get a bit noisy, so I do apologize in advance here, but let's go ahead. Like I said, we want to stop this when this needle gets into the green, which it now is. So I'm going to shut this valve, unplug my air, set this all aside, and now we can go ahead, grab our coolant jug like so, connect it to here, and open our valve. And like I said, this coolant is going to very forcefully get sucked in. Now you do just want to periodically check this bottle, make sure it doesn't run dry. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to shut the valve off. I'm going to go get some more coolant and get it ready. Okay, let's open this back up. Let it keep sucking in coolant. All right, and it's that easy. This cooling system is now filled, so I'm just going to go ahead, shut this valve off. I'm going to pull this tube out, and then you're just going to lift it up like this and open the valve, and you'll see all the excess coolant that was in the tube is going to drain back into the bottle. Now at this point, what I'll do is I'll just take a bottle of coolant here and I'll just top the radiator off ever so slightly. It's not going to take much, like so. Okay, let's put our cap back on. Now we're going to get the car outside, start it up, let it run. We want to let it run until the cooling fans turn on, and we just want to make sure that all of our hoses, our upper and lower hoses, are both warm, and then we're going to go ahead and take it for a ride. All right guys, so here we are. We got the car outside here running. You're going to want the HVAC system, so the air conditioning and heat, you're going to want that off because we want this thing to warm up as quickly as possible. And if you have cooling fans running or the heater core sucking heat out of the system, it's going to take that much longer. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hold this thing a little over 2000 RPM like this. Okay, like I said, heat off, air conditioning off, and we're just going to hold it until we see our temperature gauge come up to about halfway, and we're going to listen for our cooling fans. Once we hear our cooling fans, we're just going to go ahead, we're going to make sure our upper and lower hoses are hot, and then we're going to go take it for a ride. So what we did here is we just used a PVC pipe. We put it up against the seat, moved the seat forward. And like I said, we have it sitting at like 2200 RPM. We're just gonna let it marinate, wait for them cooling fans to turn on. Now, if you did this using a spill-proof funnel, right now you would have that funnel set up here and you would have it burping. But like I said, because we used our vacuum filler, there should be no air bubbles in the system. We're just doing this out of an abundance of caution. All right guys, I hope you can hear me, but I don't know if you can see it. Cooling fan is on, it's running, and we have some nice hot air coming out from it. I'm just gonna sneak my hand down to the lower hose. It's hot. I'm gonna feel the upper hose here. It's hot, so the coolant is now, flowing nice and freely through the system. And we're gonna go ahead and call this complete. We have hot, everything's done, everything's good. So if this video helped you do the coolant on your A25A equipped Toyota, whether it's in a Camry, Avalon, RAV4, Highlander, whatever, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm gonna leave everything we use down in the video description below, from the coolant to the spill-proof funnel to the vacuum filler. So again, like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you all next time.